I want to put a speedometer on here. I think I'm going to look at these GPS speedometers. In the day I used to buy these gauges from Utah called Speed Hut gauges. Very expensive gauges, but very nice. They were GPS. They must have outsourced to China, because now you see them on eBay. They're the exact same Speed Hut gauges we used to buy for 400 bucks. They're on there for anywhere between 45 and 50 bucks. Gauge from eBay, and it's a very good quality. This is that's glass. I remember that was an extra when I ordered my gauges for my Mustang for Speed Hut, and it looks like the exact same gauge. It's identical to the Speed Hut gauges. It's got the chrome bezel. This one's waterproof. It's got the rubber mount around it. At least the eBay adds it as waterproof. I think it's because of this O-ring here. And the chrome bezel with the black face, that'll match the rest of my gauges. I've always liked the looks of the 883 Sportsters from the 80s that had the single speedo sitting up between the handlebars. That's kind of the look I want to go for. 3 wires on it. Pretty self-explanatory. It's got black for ground, red for positive, and then yellow for the backlight. On the Maddog, the power comes on and the lights come on automatically. There's no switch for it, so I'll just be wiring the red one and the yellow one to the same hot wire. It's got the button here for programming the lights to get what color you want. Then there's a connector for the GPS antenna. So simple to install, which is good because the instructions are useless. The instructions, they tell you to make sure there is a space backyard of panel, stuff like that. So I'm hoping the antenna will pick up through the fiberglass cowling, so I can put it inside the cowling and you don't see it. We'll test that out before I hard mount it. This is designed to go into a cutout hole, and this would screw on the back of it, and then it would press down and hold it between the instrument panel. But since I'm mounting it standalone, I saw this on eBay and I took a chance. It had no description at all, but it showed a black housing, which looked cool, and the housing from the picture I could see it looked like it had threads inside of it. So there's threads inside that housing. This thing is like aluminum, like billet aluminum. It's a really nice piece. I'm just hoping this screws into here. And it does. How cool is that? What a find. I'm pretty stoked about that. That is a quality setup right there. There's a heavy aluminum billet, black anodized casing with a very good quality speedometer in it. It's going to look really cool. And it comes with a back plate, which I don't know. Okay, I guess the wires come through there. And then it comes with the something to mount it to the bracket. I'll be able to figure something out. Not really sure right now. Stainless steel bolts also with it. To mount all this, you're talking about 50 bucks for a gauge and 50 bucks for a mount for $100. So I'm just going to pull off these 6 sheet metal screws on each side and get this cowling off so I can access a wire down the side there to hook my speedometer. So I think I'll look into this plug that powers the other gauge cluster. That way I keep all the gauges on one wire bundle. Logical choice is to tap into this headlight wire or tap into these gauge wires, because they've got lights in them and they're powered when the scooter's running, which is when I need power. The problem is that my speedometer needs 12 volts DC, And if your headlights come on once the bike is running, then you've probably got an AC system. If your headlights come on when the key is turned on, then you most likely have a DC system. But even with AC systems on a scooter, the brake light and the turn signals are usually DC. So if you can find the tap that goes into the turn signals to give these wires power, you will probably find your DC source. And this one is that black wire right there. And it's most likely the same wire as this black wire to my gauge cluster. Now when you're testing that black wire for 12 volts, it'll give you 12 volts if you touch any of these other wires. These AC wires are gonna fool this into thinking it's a ground. So I think I'm gonna run the ground to an actual ground. My theory is that the GPS signal will go right through this fiberglass. So I'm gonna mount that right there with sticky tape. That's the antenna. This thing must weigh 2 pounds. The quality is amazing. The bracket it comes with is pretty significant. It's one big beefy piece of aluminum, and it doesn't really fit in there. I think I can bend that. It's pretty thick. So I think I'm gonna make my own bracket so the speedometer is not sitting like this, but instead it'll sit like that. Something out of steel that I can bend. So I think that bracket should work. It's just a piece of flat steel that I painted. Yeah, I like that placement a lot. It's about the right angle and everything. I went ahead and put it on a ground source that's just the frame. So I grounded it right there. You can see that. I grounded it right where you can see that yellow connector. Just going to the one of the bolts that holds the key switch on. For the hot wire, I put it to this 12-volt source when the key's on. I thought it was a pretty good idea. So we'll turn the key on and see how it does. Well, that's cool. And it should default to blue. That's where I got it set. I think the blue color matches the bike. I could not be happier with how good that came out. It's a little off-centered. I don't even know if I'm going to fix it. So let's turn the key on. You see our mileage will be 0. And we'll see if we, yep, we got GPS signal. Look at that. So let's see if it works. That's pretty cool. The odometer even works. For sale, Chinese Ruckus, only 2 miles.